Jordan. A spectacular move.
Be clever.
Bring it home, Kobe, baby. Oh, he came up behind him like a librarian. He never heard him.
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen.
G'day guys, welcome to Casual Fan Experience. We are joined, I'm with Brendo here today, but we are joined by maybe our biggest guest yet, with former UFC star, combat sports star, Mark Hunt. Very excited for this one, Brendo.
Yeah, absolutely pumped for this one. Hopefully we don't piss him off because he's the walk-off king. So
yeah, that's right. Stay out of his way.
Luckily we're in separate rooms, so if we do piss him off,
keep our distance, I think. No worries. Without further ado.
No talking, no sledging. Mark Hunt.
Damn!
Sonny's hurt.
Why don't you make yourself at home here? Have a seat.
And hopes and prays he can get through it. Mark Hunt
Going for the kill.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
is headhunting. There's the big shot.
It's over, Randy.
It's
Getting over.
It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
First off, man, big thank you for getting on and taking the time out of your day. I'm sure you're night. I'm sure you're probably busier than we are, so much appreciated.
Yeah, man, it's appreciate that. Nearly. Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on. It's time to chill. I'm about to go to bed, so yeah, cool.
Yeah, absolutely, man. First thing I always like to ask whenever we have someone that like sort of obviously be at any elite level of athletic, whether it be like sports, combat sports, whatever. What brought you to combat sports in particular? What was, I guess, the driving force behind that?
Combat sport. I actually think combat sports saved my life. To be honest, is that a good angle?
Yeah, that's fine, man.
yeah, that's fine, right?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I
man,
actually
easy.
think. I think actually combat sport saved my life. To be honest, I wasn't doing much in life. I just started. I just came out of jail for the second time as a young man. Just started in the scene of doing no good and continued to do no. But moving over to Pride Aftercare one was a different sport altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. Then, obviously, Pride was, correct me if I'm wrong, Pride was bought out by the UFC, or bought by the UFC from there. Is that, and then, or taken over by the UFC, and then you obviously moved into that. What did you find? Was there like a massive change in, I guess, like the way that the organization ran when you went from Pride to the UFC, or was it like, what was the, I guess, major differences, I suppose?
It was a different. It was different. It was like Pride was Japanese based, mainly, and we fought all around Japan. And UFC is American based. And it was just starting. I think we had our first show on Pride in America, and that's when the Fertitas decided to go and try and purchase Pride because Pride was moving to the States.
In obviously then in the career, I don't know, in your UFC career, I don't know if how much you sort of, care about it, but I know us as fans, you kind of became, I guess, the king of the walk-off KO for a fair number of years there. And obviously, like, we've watched plenty of highlights and stuff and seen a lot of the finishes. When, I don't know if this is something you actually think about, and call me a dickhead if it isn't, but like when you hit someone, do you just know if they're dropping, like as soon as you connect, or is it like you wait a second to realize?
Yeah, when someone, you've got them properly, or it just comes from experience. Pretty much once you tag someone, that when you've tagged them, you go and finish them off. Yeah, so yeah, it's from experience. A lot of kickboxing bouts and stuff like that. So yeah.
Has there been one where you've like just thought, shit, got him, like more than others?
They're all pretty much the same if you get them properly. To be honest, is there you just know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did it with obviously the walk-off KO stuff, did it become a conscious thing when you got them? You just turned around and walked away, or was it just you knew you got them, so there's no point going?
Well, predominantly, I'm a kickboxer. I started in Muay Thai, so I know in kickboxing when you drop someone, you let them the refs give the count and then you stand up. And they don't really, if you hit someone and they start trying to take you down and things like that, then you know that they're not finished. But you know when they're done. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel there's any need to, unless I dislike someone, I would probably elbow them in the head or something when they're on the ground. I'll take it a bit further. Guys like Fabricio, some idiots like that, I'll probably do something like that. If they're on the ground unconscious, I'll probably whack them again.
Is there in terms of, I guess, I mean, anywhere from the start of your career to the end or whatever, is there one person that you fought in particular that was just like on another level, like from any other people you fought, or?
You got to remember, is this in mixed martial arts or kickboxing?
Anything, just one that sort of stands out as like a.
When I started, I was kickboxing, and I went from 1,000 seat and fight normal guys. I thought to fighting these guys I thought were megastars and superstars that like William Wallace always said, he's like in the movie they said the guy looked like you shoot fireballs from his eyes and his ass and whatever. But and when you start fighting some of these guys, you realize, my old man, even though I hate the cunt, he always just say 2 arms and 2 legs. That's pretty much basically all they are. The only thing they've got on you is experience in fighting. So, I was a white belt fighting black belts, but in my mind, I've always been the greatest combat fighter ever. Regardless of me winning or losing, I feel if you ask, and that is an ego. I think if you ask every fighter on this planet, they'll say the same thing to some extent. They said, "Look, I've always felt I'm the best. It doesn't matter where, this guy is different leagues above or whatever. In his mind, he'll always be the greatest fighter." So that's how I felt. And even if these guys had a better skill set than I have, it takes in the heavyweight division, it takes 1 punch, 1 knee, 1 kick to finish them.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Fair. Obviously, spent a lot of time in the UFC. I do have one fight in particular that I just want to ask, because obviously Stephen Struve, who's just the tallest dude I've ever seen in mixed martial arts. What was it actually like? I guess even like fighting him being so tall, like it just looked. Sometimes you see him in the cage in some of the fights, and it almost looked comical. Just with how tall he is. I just was sort of interested to know what it was like.
Well, Stefan Struve is a 6'11" tall guy, but he fights like a guy that hasn't got those advantages. He fights like a guy that is a beginner in striking terms and ground terms. He isn't mentally, has the IQ of a fighter for him. He hasn't got.
Yeah.
He hasn't got the IQ for his body and his size. Because if he had the same mindset and skill set as semi-short, then that'll be a different case. Semi-short, on the other hand, is a different case, a different beat together, because for a big man the same size as Stefan Struve, he knows how to use his physique and his size.
Yeah.
Any guys that are that tall and that long have, tremendous strength if they mentally had the fight IQ of being able to use it. The problem is with Struve, he didn't know how to use it, and I just took advantage of that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But just watching the highlights and the fight and stuff is just one of those things. It's just such a strange thing to see someone so tall.
Well, if you look at the fight I had with semi-short and K1, he's spinning back kick me, and because he knows how to use his, after I think I was 2 years off fighting, that guy Struve, semi-short, knows how to use his size and his physique, his power. So, I thought in the middle of the ring, he's spinning back kicks me from the middle of the fucking ring. I thought it was like, wait a minute, you're in the middle of the ring. But he's that tall, his whole fucking foot, covers half my body. The big fucking dog is just like too fucking big. But if Struve had some sort of IQ like Stefan, semi-short, then he would be a force to be reckoned with, to be honest. I mean, he really knocked out Stipe, but and Stipe mauled me, with a shitty wake up. But a fight IQ in mind, his mind is still a young boy, semi-short. And I think I got him at the right time before he actually matured. I cracked him before he matured, and his career was over. So
Yeah.
sorry about that one, but
Sorry, not sorry.
that's the fact of the matter, man. If you want to sit at the top table and eat properly, that's what you got to do. You know, you got to find ways to win and overcome. At the end of the day, I mean, the top table, there's only a few amount of fighters that can eat well. You know, you can't sit at the top table. You're not being prepared and willing to die for that position. Because
Absolutely.
otherwise, you want to be at the table. You know, it's a hard table to sit at, especially with combat sport. But nonetheless, there's a table that people are willing to take to get there. It's a table I thought it was worth going from with the UFC. But you know, in the end, I realized there wasn't a table worth going and trying to get a seat at that table because the only proper ones eating are the UFC owners.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's something that's pretty prevalent in, I guess, the media as well at the moment. A lot of the time, I mean, probably not as much as it should be, but obviously things like fighter pay and different things and even fighter safety, and healthcare in the UFC. I guess, yeah. Do you see? I mean, I didn't have a question for this, but in regards to it, do you see that changing at any stage, or do you think it's just gonna continue as it is?
Well, I mean, I put a lawsuit 7 years ago on the steroid side of the things, and I also joined the lawsuit, the civil class action lawsuit, 8 years ago with the other guys 8 years ago when they started the lawsuit. So it's been 7 years for my one and 8 years for the other one, to bring the Ali Act into MMA. I feel changes around the corner. It's just that, you know, these guys have got a lot of money because people are still supporting them and are blinded by, you know, the lies and the, you know, and the farce that they put up, that these fighters are getting looked after. It's a shame that, you know, it's going to have to take someone to die, especially for my lawsuit, for people to try and make change. Because for my personal lawsuit against steroids, I feel that if the guy is caught cheating, it's a criminal offense. That it should be, I think it's premeditated murder, and it should be a criminal offense, and they should go to jail.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
do not money.
So I was just going to say, yeah, particularly in a sport where, you know, you're putting your hands on someone else and your feet on, you know, and using your feet as basically weapons. Then yeah, any sort of idea of going in with an unfair advantage or anything, absolutely.
Absolutely. Going off that, like obviously, I know it's a bit out there, but with the rise of the YouTube boxer and fighters in terms of Jake Paul and what he's been calling out Dana White for, in that sense with the UFC and insurance and that, do you see that as a good thing and a step in the right direction, even though no one really is taking him seriously in terms of the fight scene?
I think it's great. I think Jake Paul, like everyone, a lot of these guys just talk a lot. You know, they actually, if they're bringing eyes to it, it's good. But the thing is, he hasn't done anything like in a lawsuit or put down a lawsuit about doing anything about it because he hasn't got the position to do it. What he's bringing to this is bringing eyes to, which is good. I feel it's good. But talk is cheap these days. You've got to actually go and do something about it in the criminal to make changes. You've got to do things like this, like put lawsuits on them to make change. I feel it's a good thing he's bringing eyes to it. I think it's a good thing that he's making serious money because it goes to show how these UFC fighters are getting exploited. You know, for me, I look at their bout and I go, my mindset's changed from when I used to compete with them and work with them. It was like, I thought it was great to be part of the UFC. I thought it was great. You looked after, you know, even though I was one of the highest paid working for them, the reason I was one of the highest because I kept asking them for more money. And as a fighter, as a top end fighter, I shouldn't be asking for money. You know, when you get to that world title, that is the only time you can sit at a table with Dana White and say, Dana, I can make, you know, you make a deal with him when you get that title of how much pay-per-view money you'll get. Because people don't realize, you know, they fight when you become the champion is the only time you can get part of that pay-per-view money. The problem is people pay $70 these days. And what is that dickhead Dana them paying? They're only paying him, well, we'll give you $1. $1, brother. Brother, you want $1? What about $1.50? When everyone's paying $70.
Yeah,
I understand
sometimes.
I understand about fucking, you know, making. What about fucking $10 or a fair fucking cut? You know, with the Ali Act in boxing, they get half of it straight away. It's not a. Can I sit at the table with Dana White to get it? Can I get $1, bros? Brother, you know, it's not like that. With Ali Act, you get half it. It's transparency from the bottom to the top. everything comes with it. That's what's so annoying. And I've always felt with that belt with the UFC when I realized what it was all about. The belt's worth nothing. It's got zero money behind it. The only money he's getting is to these idiot owners. Well, not idiots, but they're just those guys that they're making all the money, and they're taking advantage of these fighters. Paying them chump change. So the belt's got no money. It's worthless, and there's no prestige behind it because they got rats like John Jones, who takes steroids, runs over people. The fucking motherfucker hides under a fucking octagon, hiding from these steroid guys, trying to catch him. What kind of fucking goat is that?
Crazy.
And the dickhead Dana White saying, "Oh, he's the goat, greatest of all time." The dude's a fucking needle pusher, shortcut taker, and a loser. Who the fuck hides under an octagon, hiding from the drug testers, and says, "Oh, I'm the world fucking champion"? Dude, how about trying to do it without using steroids? How about do it without, like every other motherfucker that does it properly instead of taking shortcuts because you can't cut it with the best of them? That's what makes me laugh about it. In every other sport, they put these guys, they take their money, they take their fucking name, they throw them into the fucking, you shouldn't be here if you have to cheat. You shouldn't fucking be hanging out with guys if you have to cheat. Because, if they want to have examples of people you should aspire to try and be, it shouldn't be a fucking steroid user like that dickhead, or the rest of these guys that cheat, So that's where I sit with these things. It's really annoying because people say he's the greatest fighter, or these other guys that cheat and become the world champion. Dude, the guy's a cheater. A fucking plain and simple. He's a little bitch.
I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad you mentioned the GOAT, because I was going to ask, other than obviously yourself, because you've said that you see yourself as the best. Who would you rank as? I mean, either top 1 or top 3 guys in mixed martial arts of all time?
The UFC, because they're the only ones making the money.
Yeah.
I think Conor McGregor is the only one that's made money from UFC. Everyone else, paid fucking chump change. The only winners is the company.
Yeah.
So they're just laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
It's a rort. It's a rip off. At the end of the day, all these fighters and their families, what do they do from here? Where do they get from here? I laugh because a lot of these fighters before thought it used to be cool working for the UFC. It's a cool thing. People will laugh because these idiots are getting exploited. I shouldn't say idiots. I said these people are getting exploited.
Yeah.
And it's sad because they're in the position like, oh man, what I should do? The title has got zero credibility to fight for, especially when companies promoting these steroid using cheaters.
Fair enough.
Look, it's just I shouldn't say it's a shame. I say it's a problem. It's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be something needs to be done about it. Because when someone dies because of one of these steroid users, what happens? Who looks after that guy's family? Do they get a fine from USADA? USADA just as bad. They're probably in the pocket of the UFC. They get a fine from USADA and time off. Because the guy was using steroids and he's killed this other dude. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So how prevalent was it when you were in the UFC, steroid use? Did you know who was on the juice?
Well, if I knew, I wouldn't be fighting either. At the end of the day, I mean, it's like when people say to me, "You knew Broccoli was on the juice," and I'm like, looking at him and goes, "Dude, are you stupid?" Fuck, I could look at someone and say, "Okay," well, I could look at them and say, "Man, he's on the steroids or he's fucking stupid," but what proof do I have?
End of the day, right? You got to trust
I could look at someone and go, "You're fucking stupid," but what proof do I have he's stupid?
Yeah. End of the day, you got to rely on the organization to make sure they're doing the right thing.
At the end of the day, I could look at him and say, he said, "Just look at him." I said, "Just look at you." Fuck. You know what I mean? It's just they always say, "You knew he was on steroids." I said, "Well, how do I fucking know?"
Absolutely.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't suggesting you knew, but yeah.
You can't know one unless you actually took his blood. And I don't assume anything. I said, man, I expect these guys to follow the guidelines and the rules of the contract, but and I expect my company to back me with all the shit, but they don't. Imagine if the company that he was on steroids and allowed him to do it.
Yeah.
He just grubs.
Absolutely.
Obviously, then since then, you've done a couple of boxing matches here in Australia with Gallen and Sonny Bill. What was the? I mean, obviously with Gallen, the Gallen one, there was a moment in that fight where I mean, he certainly wobbled him and his legs kind of went. What was, I guess, running through your head at that point? Because I know watching it, it looked like it was maybe one or two punches from finishing, but then he regained seemingly pretty quickly. What was? Did you think you had him, or?
Well, look, I like Gal. I have respect for him because he's a fighter, but he says it how it is. But at the end of the day, I mean, I lost the fight. I felt I rung his bell. I won that fight by just making him dizzy the whole fucking. He was in. If you'd asked him what planet he was on after, he would have said he's in fucking planet Mars. Because I'd rung his bell a few times in that fight. End of the day, I lost the fight, but even behind that fight, there's a lot of annoying shit behind that fight, especially with Australian boxing, and I didn't realize that. But it's fucking, it's so annoying. Anyway, they yeah, what? End of the day, yeah, I don't think I'll go into it, and
No, that's all right. You don't have to. I mean, you're more than welcome to, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
And then obviously moving into the Sonny Bill one, where you well and truly did ring his bell. Did you starting the fight? Were you feeling confident that's the way it was going to end, or? I mean, obviously you're always confident, but when it first started, were you like, oh, I definitely have this bloke?
Well, I mean, my cousin's Joseph Parker, who's a boxer. I messaged him. I said, "Bro, why did your boy come in to pick a fight with me?" He's like, "Oh, he's still got a good name, Mark." I'm thinking, dude, his career's going to be fucking. I'll ring his bell. It's over for him. But at the end of the day, the fight was on. I like Sonny Bill. I just like I said, like Stefan Struve doesn't have the fight IQ.
Yeah,
he's still green, and I caught him, but I didn't. I didn't let him get away like I let Gallen did it. I fixed him up good and proper at the end of the day. That's the end. That's the price you pay with trying to get the old guy off the fucking couch eating cake.
Nice.
Is there someone? Oh, sorry, you're up. Brennan, you go.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there anything in the future in terms of fighting? Have you got? Would you like to fight?
Actually, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, would you like to fight someone, or has someone approached you about doing another fight? Or?
I've had a few different offers. To be honest, I'm 49. I was going to say 48, but I just had my 49th birthday, so I'm an old fucking cut now. I never like training, but fighting is and these lawsuits cost a lot of money. I've just had another offer to fight in Florida. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, there's a lot of things I could say about the past few years, especially with the fight with Gallen and different things. But I won't. Like I said, yeah. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I did close the door on competing. I haven't had a mixed martial arts fight in years, especially with this lawsuit. I think I got blacklisted because of the UFC and all their scrubs.
Is there someone that?
We'll see. I mean, if the offer comes back.
If you could have
No, I'm just saying if the offer comes back, I'm ready.
Yep. Yeah. If in your prime you could have one fight with any former mixed martial artist or current mixed martial artist, is there anyone that would tickle your fancy?
Man, I'd like to get Dana White in that octagon, dude. I'd like to get him in that octagon. I'd like to get those Fatitas in there. I'd like to fucking thrash the fuck out of them, man. All these years of taking advantage and exploiting all these they exploited all of us, cheated us. Jeff Davinsky, throw that fucker in the mix as well. That's the cocksucker that caught Lance Armstrong, and he works for them now. He works for UFC now. So that guy could be in the mix with a whole lot of them. Fuck, tag team tables and chairs. Fucking done deal.
I would pay a lot of money for the pay-per-view as long as you get more than $1.50.
I'm down, but those fucking rodents to get on board. That's all.
Yeah, I'd send the money to you directly, Mark. I reckon.
Yeah,
For that.
you can have everything. Take
Yeah.
my house. Um, I guess on the UFC, I do like find it interesting the people with different opinions on his Dana White's new little power slap league thing. Have you seen it, and what are your thoughts? Because I think it's pretty wild.
Well, I don't have like I said, the power step. Like I'm still stuck on trying to sort the UFC situation out with my lawsuit. So
Yeah,
all I care about is trying to make change so things are even on the lawsuits, because people are still lost and they're confused about you know about these the UFC thinking it's such a great company and these fighters are getting looked after, but it's a title that's fucking not worth fighting for or spending your time for or fighting for anything. You're the world champion of actually being exploited. That's all I say. Being the champion of the UFC is being the champion of being exploited. That's what it should be. And with the power step thing, it's another money making scheme for those grubs, and that's all it is. They take advantage of everyone else doing the same shit. I mean, fuck, are they gonna pay for the fucking the back end of when those guys get slapped in the face all the fucking time? I mean, shucks, it's
yeah.
you know, it's like with the gridiron when they get those head trauma. Does UFC have any insurance for that sort of shit?
No,
They're gonna give a fuck because they're just grubs.
that's right.
But
Absolutely.
there's people behind those competitors. There's people there.
Yeah,
They're
of course.
actually people. There's families behind those people. Think about it.
Yeah, of course.
There's kids behind these people.
Yeah.
Think about that. Huh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Had you got any inclination to go into coaching?
Dude, like I said, I don't even like training. I don't like. I mean, I only train like hold pads and do stuff with a couple of friends of mine, like in the coffee club. I have coffee with. We go training in the mornings. I take some people pads at about 10:30, 10:40 down the local gym, and then I sometimes do my own training at night times with my son when my kids want to go to the gym, because my son's 15 now, and when I start do some training, I just that's the only time I'll take to spend with the kids. 'Cause like I said, I spent years traveling, chasing the coin and trying to look after my family a lot better. I just, at the end of the day, I realized all that time away from my family, was a waste of time chasing about that was worthless. Trying to get better options for the kids when holy shit, at the end of the day, there's a different fight upon that fight. When you see the issue, you go, holy shit. So what is it going to cost you to do that? Your whole retirement, your whole career is over? Fuck. But if it wasn't for me, then who was going to do it? If it wasn't that time I put it down,
someone's going to do it, right?
Then what time was it going to do it? Like even now, people just sit by and all the guys in there not doing anything. The world heavyweight champion Ngannou did something about it. He got the title and said, I don't want this. I want fair this. I want fair this.
Yeah.
And they let him go. That's how scummy this company is. They let him go because they don't want change in their company. They want to keep ripping these fighters off. And the problem is, I said to one guy before, I said, man, you had the belt. You could have made change. You could have stood up with those belts. You could have made change for everyone else. But you're too busy living a rapper lifestyle on a fucking shoestring budget.
Yeah.
You're probably getting good money, $2 million, whatever, $3 million, $4 million. You should be making $15-20 million.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the money that, as you said earlier, Brendan, even some of the influencer boxers are making. Like, you think those professional bloody fighters that spent their whole life training for it and putting on some of the best shows on the planet should be certainly getting compensated properly.
Well, the problem is these fighters keep signing these shitty contracts because they think it's good. They want the clout of going fighting. The problem is you become a global star, but with zero bank account.
Yeah.
Fuck. Fighting for me when I started was all about money. It's still always about money, because fighting is for guys that don't have anything else. Some of the best fighters in the world come from poverty, come from nothing, because until they get money, get the world titles, and they get money, and then they get the silk sheets. Some of them still, it's just fighting has been a way up. But these days, people just want to be famous, but be famous for being what?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's my views, and
I
that's
don't know.
only my, I don't know how everyone else feels, but that's how I feel about
Sounds
when I
reasonable
look
to
at
me.
fighting and competing. So
Mm. We're obviously not alone with, like, obviously middle of last year, Igano packed up and left the UFC, so you're certainly not alone in that view with UFC and that. So
Yeah,
well, it's going to take it's going to take a lot more guys. I feel if every fighter just said, "I don't want to fight for this company," even if it took 58% of the company, the fighters just said, "I don't want to fight," until changes are made, the changes will be made.
well, they have no choice, exactly.
Because there'll be no company after the problem is these fighters don't know their power, their worth. They can fight in the ring and fight for fucking pittance, but they can't even fight for their own freedoms. They can't even fight for their own rights. They'll go into the octagon, get the fucking crap beat out of them for fucking measly dollars. You did well, good on you. Then what? You can't even fight for your own fucking rights. You got to take guys like us to go put lawsuits, give up our fucking careers to make things even. But that's not. I mean, it's just that I don't think they could see that. I mean, I saw that when I was working for that company. I was like, what the fuck? So that's why I had to do something, because I mean, I couldn't just sit there and let this keep going and continue to happen, because that was what the UFC were doing with these guys in steroids. They were promoting it and allowing you guys to do this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Had to do something about it, man. People say to me, they've always said you're whinging, it's a fucking money grab. I said, dude, if that was the case, wouldn't have said shit and just keep getting my paychecks and fucking moved on with my life,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
especially
absolutely.
after a 7-8 year lawsuit, it sort of drains the bank account fairly quickly, something like that. So
man, it's especially when those guys have got billions of dollars. It's a
Oh,
fucking
they
the headache.
pockets, right?
But the thing is it's a, like I said, if it wasn't me, then who? If it wasn't then when?
Yeah.
Is it going to take someone to die before things start making changes? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's hope it doesn't get to that.
Well,
Yeah, for sure.
that's where it's going. That's where, like I
Yeah.
said, that's where the shit's going, because they got a steroid user. They've just promoted it as a goat. Fuck, Hey, boys and girls, look at that. It's John Jones under the fucking octagon hiding because he's a little bitch steroid user. That's what makes me laugh, man. That's why that company has zero credibility, man, because the world heavyweight champion is a guy that uses needles and steroids and fucking hides under the octagon, takes a shit under the octagon. Fuck it. It's just, it's a joke. People say everyone makes mistakes. I'm saying, yeah, everyone makes mistakes. But do you keep doing them? The problem is usually they've allowed them to do so many mistakes and keep doing it. So, and maybe the question for that is, well, if everyone makes mistakes and moves on, but what about the guys that this guy's cheated out of a position? What about the guys' families and their kids that this John Jones has cheated out of a position? Better schooling, better everything, because this fuckwit's gone and taken their position because he's cheated them out of the spot. Could he have done that without using steroids?
Fair question.
The question is, why is he even allowed to compete?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
Why
I mean,
is
you look
even
at
these guys that are on steroids allowed to compete? There's a clause in there's a contract that says certain things, and they're breaking their own contracts to allow these guys to use steroids and get away with it. That's how grubby this company is. So that's where I say the credibility of the UFC is rubbish.
no, fair enough. Absolutely.
Mm. Start.
Yeah, you're right.
Sorry,
No.
stay with the UFC a bit. Do you, like, obviously Australia at the moment's got a couple of big fighters in the UFC in Ty and Volk. Have you had much to do with either of them, or do you get in contact with them at all? Especially Ty?
Ty was one of the guys with a lot of the guys that came through me, to be honest. But end of the day, like I said, he knows how I feel about the company. He knows how I feel how they're getting exploited. And it's a fucking ripoff. It's for me, guys like Volk, Whitaker, or Ty Bam, all the guys from the Oceania area that work for the UFC are all getting ripped off. When you're the world champion like Volkanovski, He's getting ripped off. Tell me he's not. It's a shame. Actually, I shouldn't say it's a shame. It's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, all the Aussies, all the Kiwis that went and supported them in Perth, all this and that. That pay-per-view, half of that money should be going to him and his family. Half of it, without a question. But he probably organized maybe $1.50, $2, even $3.
Yeah.
To be lucky. He'd be lucky to get $3 out of it. So he would have made probably $2-3 million when he should have been making $15 to $20 million. It's a problem. And the moment these fighters realize that, there's a moment when they can fight for their own rights. You know, like I said, it's a joke. Like every time I see the UFC, someone says it's a fucking joke. They're a joke. So
yeah,
that's how I feel about the UFC fighters here in our country, Australia and New Zealand, because I understand it. You know, they know how I feel about this company. That's why I put a lawsuit. That's why I gave my retirement and changed chased to try and make things even. You know?
Yeah, for sure. On a I guess a slightly lighter note, did you watch the Volk Islam fight? And if so, do you think Islam actually won?
No, and no.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't, like I said, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like. I mean, watching the fighters, I know what they're going through because I've been there. I've done that. I watched them and it goes, oh, it's a sad. It's sad when I see fighters, you know, getting all fucked up, you know, fighting their hearts out for their families to make change, when you know they're getting fucking chump change. People will say, "Oh, he's getting $500,000-$600,000, a lot of money." Yeah, it's a lot of money, but to get fucking injured, one fight he could probably die. He can not work ever again in his life for one fight. So the comparison to a job as a plumber or electrician is not in the same ballpark, you know. People always try to say, "Well, look, dude, the first thing is he could go and be a plumber and do what you do. I don't think you could do what he could do." Because fighting at the top end, at the highest level, is different because, you know, you're not only just, it's what kills a lot of people is the nerves.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, when they go up to a certain level, they can compete. Some people, when they get to the high levels, they can't compete. And that's the difference. Because he could do an easy job, do one of those jobs easily. I mean, he would, but to do a fighter's job is different. It's something you couldn't do it.
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people
go to training every day and train and like the problem for me for competing was always the training. The fighting was the best part about of being a fighter. It was the training that killed me.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of people that sort of say, "Oh, well, they earn 500,000 fight," they don't take into account like all the money that then comes away from that 500,000 immediately.
Well, you know exactly. Like if he's making, I was just the number was irrelevant. I mean, he can make $1, but half of it goes straight to the tax man, of course.
Well, you got tax, trainers,
then you got 25 cents that goes to the trainer, and then you got fucking 25 cents to live to your next fucking. You know, you got mortgage, you got whatever the fuck you got to pay. You end up with fucking what, 50 cents?
Yeah, exactly. And then you get an injury on top, you can't fight for 2 years, and all of a sudden, that's gone very, very quickly.
Yeah, and then that 50 cents is going to last you 3 months. Then you got to do all over again. People, you know.
And then you compare that to a bloke like a Jake Paul who's in his 4th or 5th fight making $30-40 million for the fight. Like he's an amateur boxer.
That's why I laugh, because I sit there and goes, you know what? Now there's a young man that knows how to do shit. And then when I see other fighters, I'm thinking, oh God, there goes a fighter that signed with a fucking UFC company that's screwing them. You know, the difference is Jake Paul's his own boss at 24. These other fighters are fucking, I shouldn't say stage, but they're locked in contracts under strict guidelines with the UFC. And you know what's funny there? Because of our lawsuits, they've made them even stricter. They made the contracts even stricter. So even the guys these days can't join the class action lawsuit. These guys are just pathetic, scrubby grubs. They're just stealers, thieves. But, you know what? They hate guys like me telling the truth, because they go, you know, like I said, I've waited for years to get shot down somewhere or run over or killed or something.
Yeah.
Because I'll keep having to explain it, and they got all these bots that work for them and say, you know, say I'm a whinger, complaining man. I know how you guys work.
Yeah. Oh, it's important to get it out there anyway, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here talking to podcasts and
Shit, yeah.
talking to other podcasts, just having a laugh and having a yarn with you guys. It's just speaking freely. Like on some shit, I'll speak freely, but on some, I understand. So yeah, like I said, I'm still in these lawsuits.
Of course.
So hopefully a couple of them end soon, and see how if we can try and make things even for the fighters, for MMA
for
fighters
sure.
anyway. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. Oh well, I don't have any other questions here. I don't know if you do, Brendo. I'm pretty
No,
good,
not-
I think.
Yeah.
I guess just a massive thanks, Mark, for getting on, man. It's been pretty sick, shooting the shit a little bit and talking about whatever. And it's
well, of course,
yeah,
I
man.
appreciate the time, and just like you guys said, getting the word out there, trying to spread out the knowledge so everyone knows and understands. Regardless what they think about me, or people might just love UFC and just hate me or whatever. At the end of the day, I speak facts and truth. It's all you hear from me, and I don't do it for, like I said. People say you're doing it for money, dude. I gave up my retirement for this.
Yeah.
Who does it? Who gives up their fucking kids' retirement, kids' fucking better options so they can make things even?
Yeah.
They got to be crazy to think that and it's funny that. But
Absolutely.
I always sort of look at that something like that and go, well, who's got more to lose? If someone's going to lose their livelihood and they're still willing to fight for something, then they're normally speaking the truth. And yeah, certainly you've got a lot to lose in that sense, Mark.
I've got everything to lose. I could have stayed at the company, retired, got 20 whatever million more, and retired and relaxed. But I didn't. I'm here trying to make things even, and what makes me laugh is people don't get that. A lot of people don't understand that. They just say, "You're just trying to get money." Dude, if that was the case, I would have shut my fucking mouth and just, yes, UFC's great. Yeah. Fuck up.
Yeah.
I ain't like these brown nosy cousins. You got to stand for something, otherwise you're fucking under the thumb. Like a lot of these guys are under the thumb. Can't say shit. Just fucking, what do you call it? Bitches. Bitches. The only person in the last 7 years that I was, when I put the lawsuit down, has been Ngannou.
Yeah.
The principle, when a man understands his worth about freedom and fighting for his rights, whereas everyone else are too scared.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think like an organization was just.
You say you're a fucking fighter, but you're scared to fight for your own fucking rights.
But yeah, it's crazy to think that like an organization would let, I guess, kind of their top dog at the time just like walk away just by like being too like, I guess, resistant to the idea that they could be doing things better.
They let him walk away because they understand they can let him walk away.
Yeah.
But if it took, like I said, if more of them stood up together and walked away, there'll be no UFC.
Yeah.
So all the TV deals they made, they sold like years and years ahead. Where are they going to get the content for that?
Yeah.
Where are they going to pay for that? Because half your roster's gone.
Yeah.
With basketball, they did that for a year and a half, and things changed.
Yeah. CBA.
Yep.
The problem, like I said, they don't even understand about fighting for their own fucking rights.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as I said, guys like, Jake Paul talking about it, hopefully at least just even them talking about it makes more happen. Because, yeah.
Nothing's going to happen. Like I said, you've got to put fucking lawsuits down to make things happen. That's the problem. Talking is cheap. You can. It's good at what he's doing is bringing light to it all, but you've actually got to, put your own fucking neck on the fucking chopping block and say, okay, fuck, this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's done. Like I said, the guys that have put the other lawsuit on for 8 years and trying to bring the Ali Act into MMA, and like I said, my personal lawsuit against these guys with steroids trying to make things fair is a different thing too. So, what are you going to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't just talk about it. You got to walk it. So, anyway, appreciate the time, guys.
Thanks for the time, brother.
Thanks, mate.
That's love it. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Oh,
well, that was it, guys. Just finished with Mark, the Super Samoan Hunt. Crazy, man. Dude went in on the UFC.
Yeah.
Made some fair points too, man. Like I'll openly say, like I've been someone that's had John Jones as my goat. I mean, he made absolutely fair points, and I guess that's something that as fans, I suppose we've got to consider a bit more.
Yeah, and we've certainly brought up the pay dispute stuff on the podcast before, and Jake Paul's come to light, and He probably has put his money. Jake Paul probably has put his money where his mouth is in that sense, in buying into another mixed martial arts company over in the US and offering 50% of the pay-per-view going back to the fighters and whatever else. So
big up Mark Hunt, and hopefully his lawsuit gets settled.
Yeah,
not only things push for positive change, and hopefully he makes a bit of coin in the meantime as well, because he probably deserves it. So
yeah, that's it. Absolutely.
Otherwise, peace out. Glad
Let's hope we see him in a ring again.
Shit, yeah, and if we're in Sydney, I'll hit him up and I'll hit the
with
pads.
Dana White and tables and chairs.
Dana White, tables, chairs.
Cheers.
No holds barred. Peace out.
Yeah.
See ya.